When the gods slept. All the gods were sitting in Pagana, and their slave Time lay idle at Pagana's gate with nothing to destroy, when they thought of worlds large and round and gleaming, and little silver moons. Then, who knoweth when, as the gods raised their hands, making the sign of the gods, the thoughts of the gods became worlds and silver moons, and the worlds swam by Pagana's gate to take their places in the sky, to ride at anchor forever, each where the gods had bidden. And because they were round and big and gleamed all over the sky, the gods laughed and shouted and clapped their hands. Then upon the earth the gods played out the game of gods, the game of life and death, and on other worlds they did seek a secret thing, playing a game that is hidden. At last they mocked no more at life, and laughed at death no more, and cried aloud in Pagana, "Will no new thing be? Must those four march forever round the world till our eyes are wearied with the treading of the feet of the seasons that will not cease, while night and day and life and death drearily rise and fall?" And as a child stares at the bare walls of a narrow hut, so the gods looked all listlessly upon the world, saying, "Will no new thing be?" And in their weariness the gods asked, to be young again, to be fresh once more from the brain of Mana-yu-Sushai. And they turned away their eyes in weariness from all the gleaming worlds, and lay them down upon Pagana's floor. For they said, "It may be that the world shall pass, and we would fain forget them." Then the gods slept. Then did the comet break loose from his moorings, and the eclipse roam about the sky, and down on the earth did death's three children, famine, pestilence, and drought, come out to feed. The eyes of the famine were green, and the eyes of the drought were red, but the pestilence was blind, and smote about all round him with his claws among the cities. But, as the gods slept, there came from beyond the rim, out of the dark and unknown, three Yozis, spirits of ill, that sailed up the river of silence in galleons with silver sails. Far away they had seen Yum and Gotham, the stars that stand sentinel over Pagana's gate. Blinking and falling asleep, as they neared Pagana, they found a hush wherein the gods slept heavily. Ya, Ha, and Sring were there. These Ya, Ha, and Sring were these three Yozis, the lords of evil, madness, and of spite. When they crept from their galleons and stole over Pagana's silent threshold, it boded ill for the gods. There in Pagana lay the gods asleep, and in a corner lay the power of the gods alone upon the floor, a thing wrought of black rock and four words graven upon it, whereof I might not give thee any clue, if even I should find it, 4 words of which none knoweth. Some say they tell of the opening of a flower towards dawn, and others say that they concern earthquakes among hills, and others that they tell of death, the death of fishes, and others that the words be these: power, knowledge, forgetting, and another word that not the gods themselves may ever guess. These words the Yozis read, and sped away in dread lest the gods should wake, and going aboard their galleons bade the rowers haste. Thus the Yozis became gods, having the power of the gods, and they sailed away to the earth, and came to a mountainous island in the seas. There they sat upon the rocks, sitting as the gods sit, with their right hands uplifted, and, having the power of gods, only none came to worship. Thither came no ships nigh them, nor ever at evening came the prayers of men, nor the smell of incense, nor screams from sacrifice. Then said the Yozis, "Of what avails it that we be gods, if no one worships us nor gives us sacrifice?" And Ya, Ha, and Sring set sail in their silver galleons, and went looming down the ocean to come to the shores of men. At first they came to an island where there were fisher folk, and the folk of the island, running down to the shore, cried out to them, "Who be ye?" And the Yozis answered, "We be 3 gods, and we would have your worship." But the fisher folk answered, We worship Ram, the thunder, and have no worship nor sacrifice for other gods. Then the Yozis snarled with anger and sailed away, and sailed till they came to another shore, sandy and low and forsaken. And at last they found an old man upon the shore, and they cried out to him, Old man upon the shore, we be 3 gods that it be well to worship, gods of great power, and apt in the granting of prayer. The old man answered, We worship Pagana's gods, who have a fondness for our incense and sound of our sacrifice when it squeals upon the altar. Then answered Sring, Asleep are Pagana's gods, nor will they wake for the humming of thy prayers, which lie in the dust upon Pagana's floor. And over them Snareti, the spider of worlds, hath woven a web of mist, and the squealing of the sacrifice maketh no music in the ears that are closed in sleep. The old man answered, standing upon the shore, Though all the gods of old shall answer our prayers no longer, yet still to the gods of old shall all men pray here in Serenas. But the Yozis turned their ship about and angrily sailed away, all cursing Serenus and Serenus's gods, but most especially the old man that stood upon the shore. Still the 3 Yozis lusted for the worship of men, and came, on the 3rd night of their sailing, to city lights, and nearing the shore they found it a city of song, wherein all folks rejoiced. Then sat each Yozis on his galleon's prow, and leering with his eyes upon the city, so that the music stopped, and the dancing ceased, and all looked out to sea at the strange shapes of the Yozis beneath their silver sails. Then String demanded their worship, promising increased joys, and swearing by the light of his eyes that he would send little flames to leap over the grass, to pursue the enemies of that city, and to chase them about the world. But the people answered in that in the city men worshipped Agrodon, the mountain standing alone, and might not worship other gods, even though they came in galleons with silver sails, sailing from over sea. But Shring answered, Certainly Agrodon is only a mountain, and in no manner a god. But the priests of Agrodon sang answer from the shore, If the sacrifice of men maketh not Agrodon a god, nor blood still young in his heart on his rock, nor the little fluttering prayers of 10,000 hearts, nor 2,000 years of worship and all the hopes of the people and the whole strength of our race, then are there no gods, and ye be common sailors, sailing from over the sea. Then said Yoas, Has Agrodon answered prayer? And the people heard the words that Yozid said. Then went the priest of Agrodon away from the shore and up the steep streets of the city, the people following, and over the moor beyond it lay to the foot of Agrodon, and then said, Agrodon, if thou art not our god, go back and herd with yonder common hills, and put a cap of snow upon thy head, and crouch far off as they do beneath the sky. But if we have given thee divinity in 2,000 years, if our hopes are all about thee like a cloak, then stand and look upon thy worshippers from over our city for ever. And the smoke that ascendeth from his feet stood still, and there fell a hush over great Agrodon. And the priest went back to the sea, and said to the 3 Yozis, New gods shall have our worship when Agrodon grows weary of being our god, or when in some night time he shall stride away, leaving us naught to gaze at that is higher than our city. And then the Yoaz sailed away and cursed towards Agrodon, but could not hurt him, for he was but a mountain. And the Yozis sailed along the coast till they came to a river running to the sea, and they sailed up the river till they came to a people at work, who furrowed the soil and sowed and strove against the forest. Then Yozis called to the people as they worked in the fields, Give us your worship, and ye shall have many joys. But the people answered, We may not worship you. Then answered Shring, Ye also, have ye a god? And the people answered, We worship the years to come. And we set the world in order for their coming, as one layeth raiment on the road before the advent of a king. And when those years shall come, they shall accept the worship of a race they knew not, and their people shall make their sacrifice to the years that follow them, who in their turn shall minister to the end. Then answered Sring, Gods that shall recompense you not, rather give us your prayers, and have our pleasures, the pleasures that we shall give you. When your gods shall come, let them be wroth, they cannot punish you. But the people continued to sacrifice their labor to their gods, the years to come, making the world a place for gods to dwell in. And the Yoaz cursed those gods and sailed away. And Yah, the Lord of Malice, swore that when those years should come, they should see whether it were well for them to have snatched away the worship from 3 Yozis. And still the Yozis sailed, for they said, It were better to be birds and have no air to fly in, than to be gods having neither prayer nor worship. But where the sky met with ocean, the Yozis saw land again, and thither sailed, and there the Yozis saw men in strange old garments, performing ancient rites in a land of many temples. And the Yozis called to the men as they performed their ancient rites, and said, We be 3 gods well versed in the needs of men, to worship whom we were to obtain instant joy. But the men said, We already have gods. We have already gods. And Sring replied, Ye too? The men answered, For we worship the things that have been, and all the years that were. Divinely have they helped us. Therefore we give them worship that is their due. And the Yozis answered the people, We be gods of the present, and return good things for worship. But the people answered, saying from the shore, Our gods have already given us the good things, and we return them the worship that is their due. And the Yozis set their faces to landward, and cursed all things that had been, and all the years that were, and sailed in their galleons away. A rocky shore in an inhuman land stood up against the sea. Thither the Yoaz came, and found no man, but out of the dark from inland towards evening came a herd of great baboons, and chattered greatly when they saw the ships. Then spake Sring to them, Have ye too a god? And the baboons spat. Then said Yoaz, We be seductive gods, having particular remembrance for little prayers. But the baboons leered fiercely at Yoaz, and would have none of them for gods. One said the prayers hindered the eating of nuts, but Sring leaned forward and whispered, and the baboons went down on their knees and clasped their hands as men clasp, and chattered prayer, and said one to one another that these were these were the gods of old, and gave the Yozis their worship. For Sring had whispered in their ears that, if they worshipped the Yozis, he would make them men. And the baboons rose from their worshipping, smothered about the faces and a little shorter in the arms, and went away and hid their bodies in clothing, and afterwards galloped away from the rocky shore, and went and herded with men. And men did not discern what they were, for their bodies were bodies of men, though their souls were still the souls of beasts, and their worship went to the Yozis, spirits of ill. And the Lord of Malice, Hatred, and Madness sailed back to their islands in the sea, and sat upon the shores as gods sit, with right hand uplifted, and at evening foul prayers from baboons gathered about them, and infested the rocks. But in Pagana the gods awoke with a start.